Hi guys, I just wanted to jump on today and talk to you a little bit about getting ready for having a second baby. So I've had a lot of clients lately and been talking to a few moms about getting ready for their second baby sleep-wise and the differences that comes along with that. I had my firstborn was 2.5 years old when my daughter was born. And I remember going through all those changes in my head too. I mean, I was still doing the same things in terms of, nesting and getting the baby's room ready and washing clothes and all that stuff, setting up her room. But I was consciously uh, going through and trying to plan out how it would be different the second time around. Um, not the rules, but the guidance that people tell you about, sleep when baby sleeps and get caught up on your sleep ahead of time. Well, that's not really an option anymore because now I have this toddler running around that may or may not be napping. He was still napping, but in your cases may not be napping. Or, even before the second baby arrives, you're now, you can't get caught up on sleep like you did when there was no babies because you don't have that freedom to kind of sleep whenever you want to sleep, and your toddler's waking you up early and things like that. Normal life gets in their way, and then you're just even more tired from lugging around a toddler to all your baby appointments and maybe their activities and all that goes along with parenting a toddler or a preschooler. So I remember being a little bit nervous and apprehensive. I don't know what it's going to be like once I have this new baby and a toddler. It was a little bit scary, but so I'm going to talk to you today about a few things we can do sleep-wise to make that transition as easy as possible on everyone involved, you, your toddler, or we'll call it the older child, and the new baby. So um, we'll talk first about the who will be the older child, assuming that they're somewhere in the toddler age range. Things may change in your certain circumstance, but we really want to make sure that there's certain things in place to make sure that they're getting the best sleep that they can get. So we want to make sure that we're creating a positive sleep routine. So making sure that they know exactly what to expect every time they're supposed to go to sleep. That few little things that you do before sleep every time. And let them help choose what these things are. So sometimes they like to be involved in that thing. Whether it's let them choose the order. If it's going to be a story time and then cuddles and then the song, or vice versa, whatever they want to incorporate. I mean, it should be about 10-15 minutes long. And then it remain consistent. Do it every night. Maybe the same parent does it every night. And make sure that that remains exactly the same once the baby arrives. I mean, things will happen where some nights they can't always, but it's important for them to know that they can rely on that alone time and they look forward to it. So that's going to make it a positive change for them as well. You're going to want to establish clear sleep time rules if you haven't already. So what's the expectation? Are they expected to stay in their bed all night long? That should be told to them, and it should be explained. And also explain things about changes that might happen. Like, for example, they might wake up and hear and see mommy going into baby's room, or hear you guys up during the night. What is your toddler supposed to do in that certain situation? Let them know what could happen. So if you hear mommy and baby up at night, you still go right back to sleep and talk to them about it, just so it's not a reason for them to get up and ask you or worry because they hear baby crying or anything like that. Also, while you're establishing sleep rules, set up some expectations or rules for when the baby is asleep but the toddler is awake. So what are they allowed to be doing when baby is sleeping? What is it most helpful for mommy and daddy for the child to be doing when baby is sleeping? Make it positive. When baby sleeps, that's the time I get to play the game with you, or certain things like that. And offer rewards if if that's what kind of where you need to go, and your toddler really relates well to things like that, offer rewards. It could be, physical rewards. It could be like a sticker or something, or it could be an out of nowhere kind of reward. Like, I really like how you're reading that book quietly, so baby can sleep. Um, here's a jelly bean, or would you like to read a story with mommy? And making sure they still get that alone time while still respecting the need for that baby to sleep and to be quiet for that to happen. You really want to focus on, before the baby comes, hopefully, is getting that toddler as well rested as possible. We know what happens when a toddler is not well rested. They act out, they're whiny, they're clingy, they're tantrums, and we don't need that when there's also a new baby around. So making sure they're well cut up on their sleep, they're not overtired, sticking to a really good schedule so that can happen, and focusing on their nap or quiet time. If they're beyond napping, you're still going to want to take advantage of some quiet time in the afternoon. So set that up ahead of time. Set up rules, set up expectations. What are they allowed to do during that quiet time? What are they not allowed to do? Maybe a timer. If they want a quiet time to last for an hour, you have some kind of timer saying that you need to stay in your room and do these things for an hour, and then you can come out. And explain the reasons for the quiet time, why everybody needs some downtime, including them. And during the day, this could be either, before you have the baby or after you have a baby. I know once you have two kids, you feel a little bit like you don't want to leave the house because it's such an effort, but it will pay off for everyone if you get that toddler out. Go to play groups. Those are really easy to take babies to. Take a walk, go to the park, let them run off some energy and some steam, and they'll sleep much nicer for you. I guess the biggest takeaway from that is just keeping your toddler sleep a priority, because that will just help everyone in the whole family. It keeps your toddler happy, it keeps them healthy. You don't want them being sick and then getting baby sick and making you sick. And it makes them it makes it easier for them to deal with the big change in their life. If they're overtired, they're not going to be cooperative. They're not going to be able to regulate their emotions as well. So really focus on that. I know it's easy. It's much more easier to focus on pay attention to our sleep and the new baby sleep, but we really need to keep that toddler well rested as well. Now for the new baby, of course, you're going to do all the same things that you did with the first baby. The biggest difference, I would say, is establishing that safe sleep area for the baby for the daytime and night. Obviously, you will have that set up. But keeping in mind that when that baby is sleeping during the day, sometimes toddlers get a little curious. And they want to play with the baby. They want to be able to touch the baby. They want to look at the baby. They want to pull down on the bassinet to see what baby's doing. So making sure you really set up that safe sleep space for the baby during the day. When it was just the one baby, they might have some, in the earlier months, they might have some naps and swings and things like that. But if that toddler can reach it and push the swing and think it's a super fun thing to be swinging baby on the swing, it's not such a good idea. So just focusing on that. Also wearing your baby, I found that a little bit, I didn't really do much with my first, but I found with my second, I wore her a lot more, like in a wrap, just so I could have hands free to deal with the toddler. And in the first few months, new babies, they will sleep anywhere. So that you may find that helpful as well. And establish a bit of a routine. I know in the first few months, babies are not on a routine, they're not on a schedule, but trying to set it up a little bit so that you can at least have a little bit of time during the day when hopefully they're both kind of napping, both your kids or toddlers napping, and it's you can figure out what to do with the baby at that point, and then you can get a little bit of rest in as well. And probably my biggest piece of advice, and not always possible, is ask for help. It's a lot of work. 2 kids is a lot of work focusing on the newborn, focusing on, you know, making sure they're eating properly and sleeping properly, you know, taking on the toddler as well, keeping them entertained. It's a lot, and it takes a lot on your body. So ask for help. Use your partner for help. If you're lucky enough to have your parents or in-laws around, or daycare for even a couple days a week, it's really worthwhile just to get everyone, keep everyone as well rested as possible, and do your best. So hope some of those tips helped you a little bit. If you are approaching your new baby's birth and you have a toddler and they're still not sleeping well, I really encourage you to use the next little while, any little bit of time you have to really get them sleeping well. It will make your life so much easier after that second baby comes. And if you need help with that, contact me. I'd love to help you out, make sure you guys are all getting the sleep you need. All right.